What's up, Coastal Con folks?
There we go.
There's AJ right there for you to see. We'll hang out here before we start throwing any cool information out. See who else joins us. Eric, expecting Eric and Alan, and actually expecting a couple of other folks possibly. Alan's like his main commission painter that he has. He is hooking me up with a deal, like he's super good. And
That's cool.
and for an extremely reasonable price, he's doing 7 of my twisted models because there's no way I'm going to get them done in time for Coastal Con. He might be able to get them done in time for Siege, which would be nice because I'd like
that would be really cool.
Yeah. So, but I do have a bunch of stuff that is still going to Siege anyway. So that's that plan. But I might try a different camera. I might try that's still my head's not in there. My head's too big for the camera, I guess. I got all this fancy setup to do my camera and everything, and you're using your phone and I can see you and you're painting. I'm like, what the heck, man? I can't figure out how to get that
in. So I bought a couple cameras too because I was going to do some more videos. I've been trying to get it set up, and it's not. My biggest problem here is internet.
Yeah. Can you run an Ethernet cable from the house?
Well, even with that, I still only have 10 megs of internet.
Oh, wow. Well, when I started doing the shows and stuff, I changed internet providers and went to whatever the highest one is that we have here. I don't remember what it was, but it was significantly. I mean, it was very noticeable. Very noticeable difference.
So that's the biggest problem is internet. We don't have any. We only have one provider, and that's all they offer out here on Sticks.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know what I want to paint.
I'm just trying to get through all this blood and plunder. Well, I got the realization yesterday as I was painting some of these. I was like, it won't be long, and I will finish these.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to figure out what's next.
I have one game that I have everything painted in, and it's Quar, and I have 6 models.
But I'm sure with Coastal Con and possibly Siege coming up, there's bound to be more models appearing in my hands.
Yeah, I have to kind of try to avoid that because I have too much to even to do.
Right. I don't know if it's going to be like I looked at Deep Wars. I like that one. Or Drowned Earth's the one I think I really want to look into.
Well,
Twisted is interesting. And of course, there's Bot War. That's a possibility.
Bot War is, if I had to compare Bot War to a game, I would compare it to Rumble Slam insofar as how it plays. Did you watch our bat rep on that one?
I did not yet.
You should check it out. You'll see how easy it is, and you'll see what I mean about how very, very similar. I don't mean in rules. It's not similar in rules to Rumble Slam, but in the style, the simplicity, and it's a beer and pretzels game. It just is. But it's good. I mean, it has some strategic depth. I'm gonna figure this doggone camera thing out. It kills me. Maybe we'll try that this time. Then I can at least go, hello.
There you go. That works.
And then everything gets dark when I do that. But yeah, it's very much like Rumble Slam in that regard. Super light, has some depth to it, but it's very much beer and pretzels kind of game. But really, it's quite enjoyable. I haven't really gotten anybody here hooked on it, but I've got a little bit of interest.
Cool.
But I've got enough models that somebody else just joined us. Who is that? Robert.
Is that Robert? Yeah.
That is Robert. Hello, sir. If you have a camera, we'll invite you on. But feel free to chat by typing. We can see what you're typing too. We are waiting for some of the other guys so we can. I actually have a good topic for discussion tonight.
Ooh.
That I need. What Raul and I were having a pretty intense discussion last night and carried over into today. He came over again today because he's off this week about some stuff and looking to get a little bit more feedback. Don't have a camera set up just yet. No worries at all. We're happy to just chat with you too. Now, AJ, Robert is, well, I guess you could just answer this just as easily. Robert, you're running Blood and Plunder at Coastal Con, yes? Or am I mistaken?
That is.
That's what I thought. I was pretty sure it was Robert. So
he's also the one that, run the game that we played Saturday.
Awesome.
At that distillery.
Awesome.
Which ended up being fun. We had other guy show up, and we played a big, kind of a 2-on-2.
Nice.
2 of us played on land, and 2 of us played with ships. And then Robert decided to try to land his forces, and it didn't go too well.
Nothing ever goes. The best laid plans of mice and men.
Mice and men, yep. Exactly.
But we had, what did we play? We played some Fallout Wasteland Warfare this weekend. And Nate's really into that. Well, you got me the stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Is it
any good? I haven't played it yet.
It is. It is a good game. I don't identify with it quite as much like Nate does because I didn't play Fallout.
Right. I've played it a little bit, but not that much.
For him, it's a huge connection because it was like
the video game, right?
Well, it was one of the ones he grew up playing. So there's a huge connection there for him. Right. But it is fun. I like the mechanics. We're doing it a little differently. So it's your typical, you build a squad of guys and I build a squad of guys, and then we go slap each other around on the board with the occasional monster popping up to cause us grief. Well, a while back, I want to say almost a year ago, do you feel like it represented the Fallout games? Yes, he does. He very much feels like it represents the games. There's some really cool cards within the context of the game. I'm trying to remember. It's not event cards. They're like they're loot cards. So when you go around, you can loot just about anything. So we were playing our game the other day, and I've got a resin porta potty painted up. So I was like, I'm gonna search the porta potty. It's got to be something cool in a porta potty, right? Yeah, there was a priestess of I can't remember what it was because I didn't play the game, but some priestess popped out of the porta potty. It's like, that's a weird place to have church, man. I'm staying away from her.
Yeah. David showed up. Look at that. David's watching us.
What? Hello, sir. How are you? Man, we got all kind of new peeps.
All my peeps. I'm bringing them with me.
Hey, man, that's okay. Props to Unipolar Games. or as almost everyone says, unpolar games.
Yeah, I had one person actually call me and said, "Yeah, I'm looking for unpopular games," and I'm like, maybe I missed the boat. I should have named myself Unpopular Games.
Maybe you did. Maybe you should have. That's
I might have to
hilarious.
do a name change.
I'm looking for unpopular games. Okay, why are you calling me?
Yeah, right? That was pretty funny.
That is hilarious. But yeah, so the Fallout game is actually quite good. It uses specialty dice. It's a little. I hesitate to say that it's confusing. I suppose if you were a new tabletop gamer, I think it would be confusing, just because of the way that. I gotta move my light a little bit. Just because the specialty dice and the way you have to kind of get the swing of how the specialty dice work could be a bit overwhelming for somebody new to tabletop games. For us, it wasn't really a big deal because we play so many different ones. You know, when it comes right down to it, all the games are basically the same. You know, you're rolling an attack, possibly against a defense, to resolve a numeric value. Painting Crisis Protocol Heroes. Oh, cool.
Yeah, he got
Okay,
that for Christmas. I wanted to play.
nice. Okay,
I
so
want it.
so David, we have a rule, and that is so whatever you paint, you got to post it in the Coastal Con group because we're trying to generate more traffic here and in the group because I generate plenty of traffic myself, but it's just me. So when more people are doing it, it's good for business. So if you don't mind posting, I would appreciate that very much. So yeah, Alan's trying to get me to get Crisis Protocol. I'm like, no, I don't think I should. And then he sent me Spectre Ops for Christmas, the book. Yeah, I don't have it yet. He's sending it to me. I'm like, oh,
that's the new like Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think it's actually new. I think
I didn't mean new. I meant modern.
It was like redone and kind of rebooted. But anyway, that's how I ended up getting the painter Adam to do some stuff for me because Alan posted a couple of pictures of some of the stuff Adam had done for him. Got a load of moderns in 20 millimeter. I haven't done anything in 20 millimeter, but I am really keen to. I have grunts, and I've played grunts at Siege of Augusta, and I really enjoy it. And it's in 15 millimeter, but I don't have anybody to play here. And the thing I like about it is the ability to customize your forces to basically whatever you want.
Nobody there will play it. That's surprising, being a military town.
Oh man, I have almost no military gamers. Yeah.
Isn't Raul military?
Well, yeah, Raul's Navy. He's the only one though. Our gaming community is. I'm not sure what's up with it. It maybe my night that I hold game night is just not a good night. I don't know. But it just doesn't work. I'm gonna shoot a message here to see if Eric's coming on. Eric and Alan. There we go. All right. Message sent. So, all right. Since I only have you of the other three on, AJ. So Robert and Davin, that's it, right?
Yeah, David.
How you say it? Okay. I don't want to mess it up because he can't yell at me right now. So I guess that's the best time because all he can do is type in caps lock. So
There you go.
we're trying to put together the Gathering of Heroes,
Yeah.
which is not going to be a convention. It's going to be a gathering of gamer friends that don't live close. And right now, did you, AJ? Oh, you got the camera up. Okay. Well, let me shoot you an invite and you can join us as well. Did you, AJ, look at the cabin that I sent that's in Brevard?
Brevard.
I think it was.
I think so.
The way it was in North
Yeah.
Carolina.
I did. Yep.
What'd you think of that?
It was awesome.
Yeah, and now I threw a big number out there, and I tentatively put it up for 5 days, and at 5 days it had cost us $160 a piece.
That's not. Is that per couple?
That's period. It did the number of people didn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to use your camera, your iPad camera. AJ's using his phone. And the nice thing about it is we can only have 4 people on, but we usually when we get a lot of people, we'll just rotate people because it's fun and productive. But I'm really feeling like my productivity level is going to be low today. Man, I've been busting out models left and right. All right, try it again. All right, hang on, Robert. All right, there is the invite sent again.
You try sending one to David. I don't know. Maybe his camera on his iPad should work.
Let's see. And sent. I don't know if on the iPad, if something came up. David,
somebody.
Oh,
there's David.
There he is.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Oh, Chewbacca just walked in. Hold on.
You hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me, AJ?
Oh, we got it. We got another one coming in.
That looks like Robert.
That does look, well, I don't know if that looks like Robert. That looks like a desk to me.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I'm working on sales for this frigate.
We can hear you, David. Can you hear us?
Here's what I'm working on right here.
Well, now you went black.
I just get his little logo.
So this is what we do on Monday nights, usually for about an hour. And, well, I'll throw this out to you guys too, since Alan and Eric aren't Alan. Yeah. Names running together. Alan and Eric aren't here. So Raul, who, David, I think you may have met Raul. He's been to Siege with me before to run some games. You may have met him in passing. But we were talking because trying to narrow the focus of the games I'm involved with, not the games that I play, but the games I'm involved with. So I'm a play tester and editor for Deep Wars and Shadowsea. I'm slowly worming my way into Demented Games with all the Twisted stuff. Oh, that's one of the guys. Okay, Eric's working on a WWX podcast, and then with Bot War and Twisted, I was part of getting them into the States and trying to help Alan push them here in the States. So kind of focusing on those. But the thing is, what is it about a game that makes it appealing, do you think? Because now I'm going to throw out some of the stuff that we talked about that occurred to us. One was pop culture references. So like Twisted seems to have generally more interest than, say, Deep Wars. And there's enormous, not necessarily, I think pop culture is the wrong terminology, but cultural and known references. Stuff like there's the Dickensians. You've got a knockoff Indiana Jones, and you've got a knockoff of The Wizard of Oz, and all of these other recognizable things. And Deep Wars and Shadowsea have nothing like that. Both of them have a really strong aesthetic. Both of them are quite unique, except that they're steampunk, and steampunk's not anything unique, but they approach the steampunk aesthetic in a new and kind of refreshing way. So Deep Wars has been out for really quite a long time. And I know David has played it when I demoed it. And I'm trying to figure out what it is that stops people from playing it, because it does not have a big player base. And that was kind of what we were kicking around is what is it that makes a game appealing? Does it have to suck like 40K to be appealing?
I've never even heard of Deep Wars. Well, I mean, I've heard of it very almost just in passing.
Right.
Just on like some of the Facebook groups and forums, I've seen it pop up. But apart from that, I mean, a lot of the genres that draw me are kind of the historical games.
Gotcha.
Because of a love for military history. And then if it's not historical, it's going to be something like Frostgrave, the kind of small unit, Mornheim, building a squad, and which is almost feels more like a D&D turned into tabletop.
Right. Now, I'll tell you something interesting about that exact statement that I really like is that Deep Wars and Shadowsea capture that feeling better than any other game that I've played. So there's a campaign mechanic for it. You can build your own characters, and you can play it. You can dungeon crawl with it and skirmish tabletop with it. So that's where it just boggles my mind that I really think as we hashed through it, I really think one of the bigger things is they're just not spending the money on advertising.
I'd have to agree, just on how little. I mean, I'd like to think I'm pretty involved in the wargaming community as far as staying abreast of new stuff, and I've heard of it so little.
Yeah,
I've seen so little gameplay, so little after action reports people do, or even people just painting models. I've hardly seen any of.
and the ones you've seen are probably me.
Probably you. And outside of Alan, who actually carries it in their store?
Well, Noble Knight carries it.
Okay. Well, they carry everything. They carry my stuff. So.
Right. But that's something else that we had talked about too. Was like, for instance, he's got Bot War coming into the store, right? So he's stocking Bot War now, and the thing about Bot War is we were talking about, okay, so how do you get that game off the ground? Because it has a great aesthetic. It has that pop culture reference because it's basically every 80s cartoon you've ever played. And when Raul and I were talking last night, it's kind of like this. The reason that's a good culture reference is because the truth of the matter is all the dudes with money that play war games that can actually buy stuff watched 80s cartoons because that's when they grew up, because they're grown men now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not the 22-year-olds that are in that spot anyway. So I think you have to have a champion in your store.
Right. Like if I had a store, I would definitely carry Eric's stuff.
Well, because I think what the champion has to do is I think it has to be kind of a reciprocal thing where, and I think you and I talked about this before, AJ, that you have to reward almost like the programs that the games have. You know, you've got your Guild Ball has their whatever they call their guys, and there's the war hosts for Wild West Exodus. So, you know, there's all those different things. I think there has to be some sort of a reward system. Hey, you come to the store and you run X amount of demos, and I give you 10% off, or I give you yada yada, whatever, you know, whatever it is, whatever's agreeable and financially smart for the business owner to do.
Right.
So is that something though that stores should be doing, or should the company be backing?
Well, I think it should be both, because so if a store owner takes interest in a game, that's, you know, I think the companies can say, hey, we want you to do this, so we'll offer this program, this whatever. But then I also think it's incumbent on the store. So say I own a store. Well, I really like Twisted, so I'm going to play Twisted. Well, I want other people to play Twisted. So yes, I want Peter and Sebastian to send me all kinds of cool stuff so that I promote their game. But if I want to play it, I want to go, okay, I'm getting everything it costs anyway. If I have one guy who's my champion and he's going to do a good job of promoting and getting people into the game and buying into the game, then is that worth it to, you know, kind of reward that person that is basically championing your merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what the game is, they're championing your merchandise, what you have.
Right. I would do that with the people that did like War Machine in my store and helped run it.
Well, I know Alan, what he did when we were doing the demos just a few weeks ago. I had a roll of tickets, and if you did a demo with me, I would give you one of those tickets, and you could take that ticket and redeem it for 10% off of that game product. So if you did a Bot War demo and you got a ticket, then you could go get 10% off Bot War for playing the demo.
That's cool.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
And it seemed to work pretty well. And we did it we were actually running Drowned Earth, Twisted, and Drowned Earth, Twisted, Deep Wars, and Bot War. So we were running all of those because I'm crazy and that's what I do. Because games are fun. What are you working on, David? Oh, never mind. You told me Crisis Protocol. Let me see what you got. Oh, Cap. Nice.
I'm having a hard time with this shield. That's about to drive me bananas trying to paint in circles.
I feel your pain. I was painting stripes on my Alice and my Alice for Twisted. I was painting stripes on her tights yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to paint red, a red circle, then a white circle, then a red circle, then a blue circle, then a white star in the middle. And try to get it concentric. That thing is giving me a hard time.
I think I'd be happy if I could just keep the colors off of each other.
I got a little bit of a blur in my white across the red. I'm going to have to touch up. He's coming along pretty good.
So anybody coming to Siege of Augusta? What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at David's camera angle.
Why?
Because he's showing off his dragon?
Because he's showing off his dragon.
I knew that's what he was doing.
I know exactly where he's sitting because I've been in that room, but it's just...
Get you some, AJ.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, uh-huh.
I'm just going to accidentally place my camera right here.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
You probably need to point the camera up just a little bit because he's cut off right at the eyes.
Oh, see, on mine, he's not. He's perfect. So.
Oh, it's probably because of where he is in your because it cuts him off when you start adding the other video.
Yeah.
And he's on the bottom for me.
Oh, that's funny. I just happened to look up and see the dragon. I'm like, that's funny.
Even I knew that's what he was doing.
Yeah. I was with him when he got the dragon, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That was a cool story.
I saw that picture too.
Yeah, depending who you ask, either AJ is solely responsible for it.
Yeah, it's 100% my fault, apparently, that he has that dragon. Because I had to go buy more stuff. And
Hey,
he
I
did-
had no interest in buying anything that night. AJ made me drive 2 hours and spent a lot of money.
I'm just glad that it's somebody else's fault because I get blamed all the time.
And my wife knows it was AJ's fault.
Oh, yeah, she does. And she reminds me. No,
I
she
get-
don't.
I get blamed all the time, and very soon you two gentlemen will probably be blaming me for something too.
Oh, yeah.
I have this, I like to call it a gift. It might not be a gift, but I like people to play the games that I play, and I will invite you often, frequently, and firmly.
Well, surprisingly, I don't think I own a game that you've really pushed.
Rumble
Well,
Slam.
Rumble Slam. Rumble Slam. You're right. I went off the deep end at Seed 2 years ago with Rumble Slam.
You did. You
I-
went crazy.
I bought. Well, I traded for most of it, and I traded for. I came home with 2 new games that week.
Yep.
Rumble
Blood and
Slam
Plunder and
and
Rumble
Blood
Slam.
and Plunder. That
Yep.
sat on the shelf for 2 years, almost. But
That-
now
That week,
it's being played.
that weekend, that I ran Rumble Slam, I did Rumble Slam and Deep Wars at Siege that weekend, and Alan got cleaned out of everything. Rumble Slam and Deep Wars. He sold
What?
almost all of his Deep Wars stock, and he sold what Robert bought $300 worth of stuff.
Yep.
And then you traded a bunch of stuff, and then there were at least 2 other guys that dropped at least $300 on Rumble Slam stuff.
Yep.
Not to mention the guys that just nickel and dimed, picked up a starter set or a team.
Yep.
That was actually the first time I had been at a convention with someone who was selling what I was demoing. And that was my absolute favorite. I love that.
It was a lot of fun.
That was absolutely the best, because to be able to send somebody over to the table to get what you're playing, that was great.
And then selling them mats on top, it was even better.
Yep.
So can you invite anybody to this event, even though they can't be on camera? Because I know you can only occupy 4. Can you invite people to
Yes.
participate?
Yes. Anyone can come. That's why I try to share. I share it in about 9 different groups. But I know that some of them are Australia and the UK. So, the time doesn't.
But I can't share with anyone.
Yeah. It's so people that subscribe. So you can subscribe, or rather you can follow the channel.
Gotcha.
And then what happens is whenever I go live, the person will get an email
Okay.
notification that we're live. But I always try to share on Facebook, in multiple Facebook groups, that we're getting ready to go live, just to kind of get the word out there. Now, I was originally doing Facebook Live, and it worked well, but you only had one camera feed. You couldn't do multiple cameras, which I was fine with until my buddy Jim, the tabletop engineer, he tried Crowdcast, and he's like, oh, look. And he did his first Crowdcast, and he's like, hey, I can invite people. And I happen to be watching it. And he's like, who's got their camera set up? I said, I do. And then I saw the multi-camera thing and being able to talk to him. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's way better than typing back and forth. So we haven't gotten nearly as many people on this way as I have on Facebook Live. There were a couple nights we had as many as 13 people on Facebook, but I'm trying to get this one Oh, there you go. That looks good.
Yeah, how's that look?
That looks good.
It's pretty good work on the star.
Cap always wins because he's Cap.
Does the model have the star sculpted into it, or did you have to pretty much freehand the star?
No, it's slightly raised up on the shield, so I just
Okay.
have to really paint it.
That helps. I was going to
So
say,
like I said, painting those concentric circles, because it's like red, white, red, blue, and then the star on the top. That to me, I don't have a steady hand really to get that well, but so that took me like about an hour. Terrible. Or I need a wash. I'm gonna wash this guy here so I can highlight him.
All right. So what do you guys think as game consumers? So you got your favorite game. What can you do to promote that game, to put it over the top, to get it out there more? I'm really just kind of brainstorming. I'm actually talking to 2 different game companies that have a similar aesthetic and both have fairly small. Well, I say fairly small, like 700 to 800 in say their Facebook group, but they have a similar aesthetic, and I'm talking to them about doing a character swap. So basically crossing over a character in order to capitalize on both fan bases. So basically you have people play X game, they're introduced to a character from the other game, and you basically kind of cross-pollinating your fan base. So what are some ideas? You guys didn't know there was going to be a quiz, did you? What are some ways you guys think you can promote your favorite game? I don't care what it is. I'm saying whether it's, you guys are doing Blood and Plunder, although I don't think they really need very much help right now. And of course, as I ramble on here, let me preface all of that with the reason being is because Coastal Con's primary function is supporting independent game developers. So that's why my questions run the way they do. So what are some ways you guys think?
Well, Mac, I go back to your early question. My experience is that the best promotion for any game is to get people to play it, and that's usually to do demos.
Yep.
The problem is, like you said, with a lot of these independent games, is your big retailers, they don't carry it. So let me give you an example how I walked my way into Deep Wars with you. Because even though the game was beautiful that day I walked by, I probably would have not stopped to play it because, when I'm at the con, I usually have a set specific games that I'm interested in.
Right.
However, I had been doing some research on my own, probably about 6 months to a year prior, on some skirmish level games that had really general rules where I could use a lot of the different miniatures that I already had. I had to have a bound set of minis, like specific to something like more something even more specific. Sometimes I'm trying to think of the other skirmish game I tried out that I didn't like, but it had a very unique set of miniatures. But when I stumbled across it, I found a Song of Blades and Heroes.
Oh yes.
And as you know, the rules of Deep Wars is predicated on that rule set.
Oh yeah.
So as soon as you told me that, being familiar with that game, I was like, oh, I want to give this a try then, because I love the niche genre of the undersea exploration. But
Right.
Song of Blade and Heroes had a really neat, quick play, easy to grasp rule set.
Yeah.
So to the point is a lot of times it's just familiarity, honestly, and the ability to teach the rule set reasonable amount of time.
Right.
That's the problem with Blood and Plunder. Blood and Plunder is a phenomenal game, but the rule set is quite deep.
A little bit.
Especially in the sea battles.
Little
no pun intended. But I think it's getting out there and getting people to play it. But the problem that every game suffers from is people will play it at the con. They'll love it. They'll run over to the vendor. They'll drop $50 to $200 on their own. They'll take it back to their local hub, and they'll never play it again because they cannot find other players to integrate. Because most gamer nerds, they're just not ambassadors for gaming.
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest challenge you run into when it comes to spreading smaller games, smaller game companies, is that once you leave that hub of the diversified game platform like a convention and get back to their local shops and things, they just don't do well in getting those games off the ground with their own groups. I mean, some people do. Some people have a knack at it, but most gaming crowds don't.
Right. And I think that's why I was saying earlier that I really think, I mean, I know that game companies have their, whatever. What did they call the War Machine ones, AJ? The
Press gangers.
Press gangers. So I know they have all of that, but it seems to me that, and I could be completely wrong because I've never owned a store. I've never even worked in retail anywhere. But it seems to me that it's the store that needs the champions, not necessarily the game. You like my different view, Eric? That's pretty sweet, huh? See my cup of tea? It's because it's the South and it was 70 degrees today.
That was
70
it.
up here.
78 here.
Well, I do live right on the coast, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we got up to like 76.
So, reference your comment about the game stores having a champion. I think something that I had never thought of until I was talking to AJ and his experience running a store. Like there's a little store here right outside the base in Goldsboro that caters explicitly to card games. And AJ kind enough to explain when I brought it up that, for stores, that's what makes the money. So now if you were to go, I was up in DC over the holiday and I went to like 3 or 4 different local stores, and I out of the 4 or 5 of them, one of them had any real tabletop wargaming space available. The rest had mostly card game space with maybe 1 or 2 tables. So the store might have a champion, but is it, even if the store has a player that's like, yeah, I love this game, I'll buy stuff and I'll bring it in and I'll run games, is it cost effective for them to even stock any of that game stuff?
Well, see, that's where I think we need Alan on here. I don't know if he's on here or not, because Alan's store is the opposite of that. He does have card gamers. They are there, but he has most of his space is dedicated to wargaming tables. He had enough wargaming tables that when we went down to his store, he had 4 of them set aside just for us to run demos.
I wish I lived there.
Right? I know. I keep trying to get him to move up here. I'm like, dude, come on. I'll be your champion. You pick the game. I don't even care what the game is. I'll champion it. All right, David, we keep losing you. I'm going to pop Eric in real quick. So I can get his 2 cents on all of this too. I think. Oh, Eric's here twice even.
Yeah. I had a decent area for wargaming in my store. I had two dedicated 4x8 tables, so enough for 4 to 6, 8 players.
Right.
Well, at least 8 players if you're doing a 4x4 game. If I was running a tournament, at one time I ran a War Machine tournament and had 22 players. So I was bringing out, I had a bunch of 4x4 boards cut, but that I'd keep in the closet so I could make it bigger. And then I'd bring those out for the big tournaments. But I always had the 4x8 dedicated, at least 2 of those dedicated at all times.
And that's where I think that the skirmish games actually help a game store.
Yeah, because they're not taking up 4x4 tables.
Right. That 4x8 space that you have, that's 2 games instead of 1.
Yep.
And some of them out there, you take, say, a game like Relic Blade. So, I mean, Relic Blade is played on a 2x2.
Right.
And Relic Blade is, I mean, it's a great game. If you haven't played it, I encourage you to check it out. It's really cool. And also partly miniature agnostic, which people really like these days too. It does have its own line of miniatures, but they're not, you don't have to have them. And there's a whole bunch of cards that don't have models made for them, never have, and likely never will. Waiting for Eric T. Hummin. So it's not. Those are just things that I think about because I'm trying to help, like, getting Twisted into the States out of Australia. The reason they weren't coming anywhere into the States was because shipping. You know, it's from Australia, even though we win on the dollar, on the exchange rate, we're the ones that come out on top on the exchange rate. Still, the shipping was killer. You would have to buy a ton of stuff. And if you don't have an addiction like I do, and you only buy 1 or 2 models, then you're not going to do that. You know, with me, it's okay. I'm like, yeah, I need to buy 17 starter sets, you know, instead of just the one. But I get that. So it was nice to get that connection in the States. Bot War as well.
Yeah, I definitely think the games with, even if they have their own line of miniatures like Frostgrave, the fact that you can use any fantasy-based miniatures, you're going to be able to push the rules easier than maybe the product line. Because I can be a champion for that game. I've got terrain for it. I've got enough to make a couple war bands. But like I could set up a game with AJ and Davin, and they've got enough just generic fantasy models that they could jump in and play.
Right.
And then they might be like, "This is fun. I'm going to buy the rules," but they might never buy the actual models for it.
Right.
So I can definitely see championing rules like that, and that might be easier for a store to stock a big shelf of rules than a bunch of boxes of models.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know if you've ever done much with their models that they made for that, but the models they made specifically for Frostgrave can be great for any like fantasy generic game.
Right. That's one of the things that I have loved about the antimatter games, the Deep Wars and Shadowsea games, is that exact thing. They do have very specific models. There is a model for every profile card, but you don't have to play any of those guys because since it is Song of Blades and Heroes rules, there's a formula in the back of the book that allows you to calculate the points value and build whatever kind of hero or model or whatever you want in the game.
That's great. I might have to check that out. Is that the one where you have cards for the characters and then you can equip them with a couple items and things, or is that Relic Blade?
That's Relic Blade.
Okay.
But
I have the cards for that game. I just don't have the rules.
Now, they're in Shadowsea and Deep Wars, you can do the same thing. You can equip your guys. There's just not cards for it.
Right.
It's stuff out of the book. And now Twisted is the same way. It has some of that same mechanic. The thing that Twisted doesn't have, and I will say that what it doesn't have, and then I will drop this word right on the end of it, yet, is there he is.
There I am.
With his Wild West Exodus headphones on.
I don't know what was going on with my phone. It wouldn't let me in.
But so it doesn't have it yet, but it's the campaign mechanic where you're much like the old Mordheim and various other games along those lines, and like Frostgrave, things like that, where your warband is getting more powerful as you play.
Right.
So did you finish your podcast?
Yeah, I got 2 out last week, Mac. I was busy. Granted, I didn't do too much on one of them for editing, and it was only an hour long.
Oh, not too much editing, huh? Or is our free form rubbing off on you?
Maybe.
Or are you just getting tired of editing?
That's what it was. Yeah.
So Eric,
Editing is a pain.
we got a couple new friends on. We have Robert and Davin. Both are up from AJ's neck of the woods.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey.
Yeah,
Eric,
I caught a little bit of your guys' conversation. You were talking about different game stores and them carrying different amount, and I can see a lot of that in some of my local game stores, the smaller ones. They just don't have the dedicated space for wargaming. So in turn, it makes it hard for them to stock, said game for that.
Right.
One particular, they're very geared towards the board game. So they got your basic butcher block tables for playing the board games, or they run regular like Magic and Pokemon type events. So yeah, I can totally agree with you guys, what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's becoming a smaller niche in the wargaming, in the gaming community.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and I don't agree with it, because right now there are more. Are you laughing at Chewbacca?
Yeah. I thought it was my phone at first.
Because right now there are more. Okay, so I started playing tabletop games right on the tail end of Rogue Trader. So I came in on 40K second edition. That's when I started playing. And the market is practically flooded with good quality skirmish games with good quality miniatures, and a lot of them are thriving. So maybe it's just the UK that makes them thrive, because they're all so close together they can all play.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
so that's where I really picked up my wargaming bug. So I'd gamed a little bit beforehand, but I got stationed out there for about 3 years.
What branch are you in?
I'm in the Air Force. I'm still active duty.
How are you? I'm prior Air Force.
Yeah, I'm stationed down here at Seymour in Goldsboro. That's where I met AJ. I actually run a club through the base for wargaming.
Okay. All right. What do you do?
Air traffic control.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I was a civil engineer.
Oh, nice. Both good jobs transfer to the outside.
Yes. I didn't have anything to do with airplanes until I got out of the Air Force, and then I got into the F-18 Hornet program with the Marine Corps here where I am.
It is funny how many people think every job in the Air Force deals with airplanes.
Right.
But
well, fortunately, yours does, so you can actually. Yes, mine does.
And I get to tell people. Yeah, I get to tell pilots what to do.
That's right. Right.
But yeah, I was stationed in England for about 3 years, and throw a stone somewhere and you run into a wargaming club of one kind or another. And so I played with a local group there for the 3 years, and then coming back to the States, I just really struggled to find players for tabletop war games. And that's why I started a club at this base. And I mean, AJ and Davin are probably my most regular members.
Yeah.
And I've really more just inserted the club into their group.
That they don't mind.
It's just an excuse to play extra day.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, and I would agree that it does. I am seeing a lot of new games and a lot of good quality games, good quality models coming out, but I'm not seeing that reflected in the stores. The stores seem to always carry the same things. It's always 40K. It's always fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy and it's Infinity, and then maybe a small selection of random other things.
Yeah. And now Alan has really, I'm really not liking the light on that view. Sorry, guys. Alan has really been pushing the independent game circuit a lot. He's carrying Bot War. He's carrying Twisted. He carries the Drowned Earth. He carries Blood and Plunder too, and 40K stuff. But he seems to be having some success with them. But part of the reason that I was throwing all these questions out there was to help him, because it's almost like there's finally a store that's taking the chance and trying to, if you will, force out the big guys to give the little guys an opportunity. And it's like, so, and of course, none of us are anywhere near his store, naturally. And so the question is, what is it that, at least advice-wise, that we could give him to say, hey, this is what we think would work. Anyway, that was just the topic.
Yeah, as players.
Yeah. Because I'm of the mindset, like when, and Eric, you'll probably remember this, several years ago at Adepticon, right after War Cradle had bought Wild West Exodus from Romeo, we sat down with Darren, and he was asking about, at the time, the representatives were called deputies, and he was asking, well, what is it that you guys think deputies should get for representing? Now, this might just be me because this is my mindset, but I don't think it should necessarily be like, if you come play my game and represent it, I'll give you something. Because when I went up there, Darren was like, well, you're a deputy, aren't you, Mac? I said, no, I just drove 16 hours with a carload of terrain for 6 tables because I like the game.
Yeah.
I didn't go up there to get anything. I did get something. I got a Ronnie Lemieux model, 2 of them. But so that's kind of my mindset with that, is I don't necessarily feel like there needs to be a reward system. I'm not against a reward system.
I think there's a risk with a reward system you have to consider and be careful of.
I agree.
Yeah, because you could get just the opposite. You got someone who's like, oh man, I can start getting free stuff or discounted stuff.
Yep.
And it for them, it doesn't. Well, it's not about running a game. Now it's about what can I get out of it.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, a couple years ago, like, Privateer Press no longer has press gangers.
Right.
Because they got scared because of the whole Magic judge suing thing, because judges are volunteers, but they actually sued to try to, get compensation. And they actually lost the battle. Magic actually, Wizards of the Coast actually won the lawsuit. But during the lawsuit is when Privateer Press was like, yeah, we're just going to shut our program down because we don't want to even mess with this. So there's those ramifications too.
Yeah. All right, so on to happier subjects. Gathering of Heroes. What are you laughing at, Eric?
I'm sorry. I thought it was the Eric moved to South Carolina topic.
I knew it was going to come sooner or later.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I'm sorry. I forgot to look at my memo over here. I'm sorry.
Hey, you got to get there. You got to get there first, AJ. So I have a place to work.
Okay.
Don't be jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead on the itinerary, AJ.
Sorry, I've already told Robert I'm moving down there. So.
Well, Robert, I'm just saying they do have air traffic controllers at Charleston Air Force Base. I'm just saying, and it's not that far.
Yeah, but they're all civilian. Like, I trust me, Charleston was on my one of my number one lists of bases to go to, but all the air traffic control there are civilians.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all DoD civilians, which I mean, it is an option on the table for a retirement location after
Right.
the military.
Well, my father-in-law retired out of there. He was an aerial port chief.
It's a beautiful area and nice base.
Yeah, I know. That's where I live. Not in Charleston. I don't want to live in Charleston. I live where it's smaller and
Less touristy.
Charleston doesn't really have the best game stores either. Just saying, throwing that out there.
Really?
No, they've got a Hobbytown USA and a place called the Green Dragon. The Green Dragon's okay; it's not bad, but it's kind of a unique store in its own. Its big focus is actually RPGs.
Really?
Yeah,
That
shocking.
seems like it'd be a good environment, though, to bring in some of these skirmish games.
yeah, I agree. But I don't really know because
Like
it's too far.
RPGs is the lowest profit of anything.
Right, because they just come in and if they forget their dice, they might buy some,
Maybe.
or they probably just borrow somebody's. All right, so Gathering of Heroes. Back to that.
Yep. Sorry.
I know you thought you were off the hook there, Eric. Is that why you came in late? Is that why you came in late?
No.
No, that did not sound very convincing. I just want to say that.
Right?
That did not sound convincing. So I know it's a little far for you, but what did you think of the North Carolina one? Honest feedback. The reason, and I'm going to tell you the reason that I picked closer to me is because I have to drive because I got to bring all the terrain.
Which one was that, Mac? I can't remember. It's been a while. That the one with the hot tub?
Probably. Let me see.
That was the selling point for the wife.
Oh, yeah, right. And it's right there by the Biltmore. Let's see. I'm looking. Hold on. No.
Yeah, I think I started this mess, AJ. I messaged Mac this weekend with questions about air flights and where do I go, and just out of curiosity, I told him. I think I got him a little excited.
Gotcha. I'm just saying, we've never met in person, and I'm gonna be there. So.
Lies. Curiosity. I don't buy that for a second, man. Not for
the boss told me to.
Hey,
right.
I remember your wife hopping on this camera a couple weeks ago and was all for it.
Yeah, she was pretty excited. I'm just saying, okay? I think you're the one who's waffling.
Yeah, I'll admit that.
What's your excuse?
Money.
All right, there you go. I sent it.
Oh my!
All right, look. Okay, I got your back. Check this out. I already looked. You can get a $69 plane ticket from Chicago to Atlanta. Ride with, and Alan already offered to pick whoever wants to fly into Atlanta up and drive to that cabin. It's 3 hours from him.
Oh, geez, that's a deal.
That is a good deal.
And probably going to be, because the initial, when I was just checking out the pricing on it, probably going to be less than $100 not even a person, a couple, to cover the cost of the place.
How many people does it sleep?
12. I'm not trying to pressure you, or yes, I am. Sorry, man. I just, got to do it.
We're a support group or an
Yes.
unsupport group.
Yes, absolutely.
An enabling group.
and
Yes,
enabling group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My camera all kind of wonky now since I tried that different angle. What you working on there, Eric?
Same old, same old. I'm almost done with the starter for the Bot Wars.
I
I'm
got to
on-
finish.
Yeah, I'm on to Atlanticans now, so I'm just doing those Mud Warriors right now.
Oh, yeah, I got to
But-
finish Omen.
I brought up paint with me and stuff, but I probably won't get to it because I'm by the computer. I don't want to put water and all that by it. Started working on this guy this weekend.
Oh, Unger.
So yeah, I jumped in a little community-driven paint challenge they got on the Dark Council, and I've had this guy built for probably a year. I've only used him once or twice because I have kind of my go-to guys for Enlightened.
Right.
But he's just too cool of a model not to do something with, so I decided to start painting him up.
We can't hear you right now, David, because we've got the other 4 cameras up. But you can type. So the other thing is I don't know, since we have David and Robert on here as new voices, I don't know if there's anything out there that allows a couple of more cameras. That was something we kind of chatted about last time.
Well, I played with one that you could get up to 8.
And what was that?
It's called, oh crap,
I think it was 8x8.
That's
8
kind
by
of
8.
it's a weird
Yeah.
name. Aw, crap. That's not a very good
It's
name.
called 8 by 8. It's more of a meeting software, but you
I
could
got-
go. It looks like you could go live on Facebook with it,
Hey, this is an important meeting right here, okay?
and it was free.
It was. I think I downloaded the app.
Well, I did the web-based version. And I tried it at my house with Eric and my daughter one night, and it worked okay.
Yeah.
Other than my crappy internet. And I was trying to do it at my mom's house, and the timing just wasn't working out when I was there over the holidays. I mean, I got stuck doing a lot of other stuff I didn't want to do. So that's what sons do, right?
Yep. All right.
So.
I'm going to do this because I am going to be signing off soon. But, oh, that's my big light right there. Let me move that. So, Mr. AJ, any luck on bags for swag bags for Coastal?
I did look today because I did go back to work today. There did seem to be a couple options. I'm getting to try to get them to order a couple.
Okay.
And so I can try to see if because I got to watch some material, because the stuff I got for the shirts only works on cotton poly.
Okay.
I tried to put it on one of my bags, my mat bags that's nylon. It did not work. So I was going to try to get a cotton bag.
Well, we don't have to have the Coastal Con thing on it.
We don't have to, but
No, we don't but,
that's like my mom saying, "You don't have to do this."
right. Well, we really don't. I mean, we really
I
don't.
know,
because
I
there's
know.
only going to be 15 of them, and they're pretty loaded. Oh, I only showed AJ. Let me show you guys this. So I've got a guy locally here. His name is Neil, and he's a really, really good terrain maker. So I had asked him if he wanted to bring anything to Coastal Con to sell, but instead he built this to donate to the raffle.
Wow.
That's
And
pretty
it's
cool.
not done yet. I mean, he's gonna flock it and paint it and do all that. So yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? So that'll be in the raffle too. See, Eric, you have to be present to win, Eric.
Well, I don't want to win. I just want to see all your faces.
And win something, maybe.
And holler and hoot over by the Wild West.
Yes. Yes. Well, Alan's going to be doing Wild West Exodus. I'll give an updated rundown. Hang on.
That was a game that I was interested in too. I haven't played it yet.
I just had an event yesterday that went pretty good.
Awesome.
So let's see. Get my handy book out here. Has all my notes and goodies and everything in it for the con. Let's see. So here's the handy dandy table chart. Lots of tables. So we have 36 tables with currently, I believe, let me see, 36 tables set up with all but 1, 2, 3. All but 3 tables assigned for games or vendors.
Were you doing a room for role playing, if I remember right, Max?
Sort of. The girl that works at the hotel told me that we are allowed to use the foyer,
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
and that's where the tables will be set up for the D&D Adventure League is going to be there,
Okay.
and they'll be doing their little things. So right now we have, let's see, so much stuff. We have 13 vendors coming, and we have a whole bunch of games being run. I got a list here. There we go. Nope, that's the table assignments. There we go. So we got Rumble Slam, Pulp Alley, Blood and Plunder. Actually, Deep Wars and Shadow Sea, Eric is supposed to be there, the creator of the game, so I don't have to run that one, which is good. Ragnarok, Relic Blade, Drowned Earth, Zone Raiders, Conflict 47, Cruel Seas, Strontium Dog, Bolt Action, Frostgrave, GA, Twisted, Bot War, Free Blades, Blood Red Skies, Wild West Exodus, Last Days, Twilight, Urban Manhunt, Carniverse, and Gaslands.
Wow.
Nice lineup.
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with that. Now, there is a possibility. I'm prepared for a couple of those games to fall off the list just because somebody not being able to make it, not being able to get the GM that is supposed to be there for the game or what have you. But overall, I think it's going to be good. I really wish it's probably best that we're not in a position to do more than one day right now, because I feel like I would try, and I feel like it wouldn't be, I feel like we got to do one day first and kind of see how everything goes and mess up the stuff we're going to mess up on a 1-day con. And then instead of, starting out the first day, doing a 3-day con and then something going off the rails the first day and then just downhill from there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's probably best that we're just doing the 1 day for right now. Holy cow. We have 7 people on right now. Wow. Sweet. Who all do we have here? We have Raul. Hello, Raul. And Mike Baker. You can do it. Yeah, I can do it. 3 days. We will. We will.
Well, the 1 day is good because then you can build on it, Mac. You can see what worked, what didn't work, and then just build on it.
Yeah, and that's thanks, Raul. That was nice. And Mike is here too. Mike Baker. He's actually the one. Mike is the guy that originally invited me up to Siege. He was down here in Savannah I had run some 40K demos at GnomeCon in Savannah, Georgia, sometime back, and a long time back, at least probably 5 or 6 years. Hey, Mike, and you guys got here a little bit late. We're going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes because I am very tired and have to get up early in the morning. But this has been a really awesome night because we've had a lot of people 8 years ago. Wow, was it that long ago? I've been to a lot of conventions then. I try to hit several a year, the smaller ones. So
I'm hoping for at least 3 this year.
what are you shooting for? Coastal, Mace, and Siege?
Yep. Hopefully one. I need to find one in the summer too. Maybe back to NashCon or something.
I would like to go to NashCon, but it's a pretty
look drive.
Yeah, it's a long drive for me. I don't know. Maybe if I took something like Bot War, or I couldn't take Relic Blade. Somebody's already running it up there. I think Nicholas was running it last time. Nick Bogart was running it last time. But if I took something like Bot War, that might be small enough that I could fly. We actually just drove up there anyway. We had to drive up to Nashville.
Right.
My wife had a medical conference up there, so I tagged along for a free vacation. But yeah, it's kind of a haul for driving. So jumping back to the hot tub, Eric. So I noticed that you put all of that on Mary, and you said that she liked the hot tub.
Yeah, that's her selling point.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure I got hitting all my wickets. You know what I'm saying?
She asked me that I need to find out what kind of touristy things there are to do for her, because she's not a gamer really, so she wants to go see the sights.
The
Biltmore Estate.
Yep.
Lake Lure has Chimney Rock, and Chimney Rock's an awesome hiking and mountainous thing. It was like where Last of the Mohicans was filmed.
Oh, okay.
They have like a beautiful waterfall and this thing.
And it's all right
not
there.
Far. Yeah, right there. Chimney Rock. What else is near? There's something else right there too.
It says. Hold on a second. It says right on the.
It's probably an hour from the casino.
Okay.
Well, I mean, in reality, that's probably only fair. I mean, we don't gamble our money, but we do spend it like we're at a casino. Let's see. So, Davin, this is in it's in Brevard County, and we're talking about we have a lot of friends that live far away, and you can't always do the conventions together. So sometime back, Blue Table Painting and Mini Wargaming, they would, and several other people would get together at this cabin for like 3 or 4 days, and they would just game. So I had the idea of doing something called a Gathering of Heroes, and so I've been looking at that. Eric and Brian are the farthest away, and I don't know if Brian would even actually come. He would, of course, be welcome, but Eric lives in Illinois, just outside Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm north of Chicago.
So he's the farthest one away. So we were trying to get something somewhat central, but then calculating everything else in. There are other airports close by there too. There's Greenville and Spartanburg, but they'd probably be more than $69 to fly into.
Yeah, I think when I was looking at the smaller airports, round trip was a lot more for the smaller airport.
Yeah, I
What
know.
about Charlotte? Charlotte's not far.
Yeah, that was a little bit better.
That might not be bad, but I know Atlanta was 69. It was like $69.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on.
And then Alan can be my Uber.
Yep, he already volunteered to Uber. Here you go. It's just 45 minutes from Asheville and Greenville, South Carolina. It's an hour drive from dozens of waterfalls, trout fishing, rock climbing, hiking, and the Biltmore House, and lots more. So that's what it says. Yeah. 12 guests, 3 bedrooms, 12 beds, 3 baths. And mostly, it's got that, basically that huge footprint. It's got that wide open space.
Just move that furniture out and put tables in.
Asheville has great micro brews. Yeah, because that's the other thing that I was thinking about too for the traveling is I would be bringing tables. I mean, AJ, you've got a trailer. I do too, but I don't have an enclosed trailer. And look, there's a bar and a pool table. So there's already one table there. There you go. I could play some games right there.
I converted the pool table at my store to wargaming tables when I had
That's
big
what I'm saying.
tournaments.
That's what I'm saying. I could play some games with that view right there, right?
Yep.
And so anyway, I mean, it's still up in the air, but it's my wife already said yes. So
here's a question: when?
Okay.
This could be AJ's summer con.
I like that. AJ, get to planning, son.
Hey, I don't care what it is. I'll go.
You wanted a summer con.
There you go.
I like the sound of that. Of course, if we did it when it was, well, no, we don't want to do it when it was cold because we have to convince you to come to Coastal Con because it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold up there right now. So
there really is a lot to do in Asheville. If that's where you're all talking about being near Asheville.
Yeah, it is.
For your wife and family and stuff. My parents and my sister go down there about every other year just a vacation to Asheville.
Okay.
And the area there. So there is a lot they could be doing while you guys are gaming.
Well,
there's outlets. That's all they need.
Outlets, nice restaurants, all sorts of things.
And
no more shoe stores.
it may become something bigger. It wouldn't become a convention because that's not the motivation behind it. You know what I mean? But it could become something bigger because I know if you go look on the Mini Wargaming YouTube channel and kind of go back on some of their stuff or even Blue Table Painting, you can find some of their videos when they went to Valhalla and they had a bunch of people there. Not like crazy bunch of people, if you can imagine a game store having like 20 of your buddies in it playing games.
Yeah.
That was kind of how it was. So I don't know. Start because I know it kind of started as a joke, but I'm just warning y'all, I'm serious.
Matt doesn't joke about anything.
Just saying.
We
Or
know
game
when you
vacation.
get ideas in your head, what happens.
Matt's like your mother. He says something. He says he don't mean it. He's like, don't buy me anything for Christmas. You know it's a trap.
And then it's like, you didn't buy me anything for Christmas? It's not right. All right, fellas. Well, I'm going to sign off for the night. Hey, Robert, David, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate you guys popping in. We do it every Monday, and you guys are always welcome to join us. And bring whatever topics or anything that you guys want to talk about. Pretty much, actually, I was kind of surprised Alan wasn't here tonight. Alan's generally one of our regulars. And yes, Mike, it is going to be fun. We're going to figure it out. 2020 hobby goals. There you go. There you go. There's your New Year's resolutions, everyone. So, all right. So that is the plan. And we'll be back next Monday. I think I'm going to try to do something else this week, but I'll probably just do like a Facebook Live or something just because, or maybe, I don't know what your guys' schedule looks like, AJ and Eric, but if we want to try any of those other platforms and see if we can like pull more people in, even via the Skype, because that's what you did with Tom and Brian, right?
Yeah, that's I usually do the Skype thing. And you can record it and you just have to post it separate. the way I do it, you can't go live.
Right.
That thing me and AJ were messing with, we think that you could go live straight from it.
Yep.
Okay. Because I do like the live. I like people being able to interact.
Yeah.
I think it kind of helps. It keeps the flow of the conversation going and like get a lot of good stuff out of it because you get a bunch of different people's opinions when you bring something up. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for tonight. You guys have a safe and happy new year, and I will talk to you guys later. And Eric, I did send that link to you again.
All right. I'll check it out with Mary.
Hot tub again.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Later.